Hey, if you guys are a little bit tired of the DeFi part of DeFi, Nest is actually doing this big campaign right now. So they're doing an airdrop, or they're doing like a pre-mining campaign, but it's not really pre-mining because the token's already live. They're doing a points campaign. It's a points campaign for 1% of the total Plume token supply. It's going to go for 4 months. So you'll get your Plume in March, or you can convert your points into a boosted allocation in future tokens. So I'm pretty excited about this because the base rate APR for a lot of these is really high, and it's institutional. It's institutional tokenized stuff. So it's less the wild west of DeFi and more like the nice little established settlement of DeFi. So that's kind of cool. I think we need a little bit of this right now currently. So if you guys don't know, Plume is the RWA chain. It's their whole niche. And Nest.credit is like the heart of the Plume chain. And Nest.credit, by the way, is not only on Plume, they're also on Ethereum. There's going to be like a Pendle market for one of these assets. I'll tell you about that here in a second. But first, just look at the assets, right? So you have Wisdom Tree. By the way, if you guys don't know who Wisdom Tree is, they have $130 billion in AUM. They are kind of like an ETF focused institution, and they are coming on chain with this credit product where effectively you're giving them a line of private credit. They're paying around 11% on that, and then on top of that you're getting between 19 to 19.42% in PMP points. Now those points are being valued at the current market price of Plume. So you do have to realize you have like 4 months of exposure to the market price of Plume for the incentives, obviously not for your underlying. And so that's one thing to consider. If you're bullish on Plume, then of course you'd want these even more. If you're bearish on Plume, maybe you'd want to like hedge or something, but you can't because it's an already live token. So anyways, pretty dang good incentives. And you can get boosts on those points by going to one of these partner protocols. Morpho, Mystic, which is just a different front end for the Morpho Lite instance, Rooster, which is their DEX, and then Pendle. Pendle's going to be on ETH mainnet with N Basis. We'll talk about that. But some of the other vaults, I think Nest Basis has been one of the most interesting ones. I really like what they've done with this, even though it's a super simple strategy. They're not doing like anything crazy with the underlying assets. They're literally just yeeting it into Superstate. But I really like Superstate. So Superstate does things like CME basis, which I thought should always be a tokenized strategy. So basically CME basis is when Chicago Mercantile Exchange futures, like Sol futures or XRP futures or even gold futures, are trading at a premium, which is called contango. You can short those because they have a specific expiry, and they'll expire 1-to-1 expiry. So you can short those, lock in that arbitrage while longing on chain, even staked on chain, getting a 4% APY or whatever, and then close that arbitrage delta neutrally. And so Superstate's doing that, and you can do that kind of at size because they're using CME, and it's awesome. And I think Superstate has somewhere around like $500 million of TVL. So shout out to them. I think they're fantastic. They're one of the institutions or the institutional grade like protocols that I think is really doing it right. So that's cool. And so anyways, Nest Basis is just kind of a wrapper for, the Superstate USDC and Superstate USDB that's launched on Plume. And so there's also Nest Alpha, which was their flagship, and Nest Treasury, which is just T-bill exposure, Nest Institutional, MMF and Basis trading, and Nest Credit, which again is more private credit. All of these things do have additional incentives from the points campaigns. And of course, they're all composable. There's also some coming soon. You have Black Opal from Liquid Stone. You have Nest Hamilton Lane Scope. Senior credit fund. I don't know if that's cool. If it's senior, it's awesome. I'll take it. So a few different credit funds are coming, and then payment financing, which, maybe that should have some tranching. Who knows? Anyways, it looks like some of the newer vaults, I think, our assets are starting off with a 2x point multiplier. Now, if the 2x is where we're getting this 30% from, or this 18 to 20%, then if you're getting 5x points, you're getting even more than that, which is pretty spicy. But there's also live incentives right now. So like Rooster, if you guys don't know what Rooster is the DEX. And on Rooster, you're literally getting Plume paid to just be in like N Basis and PUSD. So N Basis has like an 8% intrinsic yield. PUSD is just effectively wrapped USDC on Plume. and there's 22% APY, which is, or APR, which is even crazier. So cool. And Rooster points. Rooster will someday presumably have an error, like, an asset. PUSD Plume. This one is a volatile pair, so it's not really delta neutral, but N alpha PUSD would be 31%. I mean, the liquidity is not crazy. So if you're a whale, you can't really come in here with millions of dollars. But if you're just, you're stablecoin farmer, maybe you're mid six figs, some of these are pretty enticing. So N Basis, PUSD, N alpha, PUSD, gold, maybe, maybe you want some gold, but there's no incentives there, so probably not. But yeah, and then on top of that, you're getting points. So they haven't shown points on the front end, but if you're really getting 8x points for this, and 2x points are being valued at 18 and 19%, maybe the Rooster is the place to be. And then, of course, Pendle. So Pendle's going to come onto ETH mainnet with N Basis. Now, if N Basis is getting that 2x, or maybe they're going to have a higher multiplier on Pendle, then I think that could be really, that'll be the best way, really, to sort of see what the markets are valuing these PNP points at. So awesome. Anyways, I just wanted to expose you guys to that. Now, if you want to go look at Mystic, so Mystic is the vamped up front end for the Morpho Lite instance. Certainly you can. Now, borrowing is a bit tricky here because we have Mystic we have MEV and RE7 as the creators for virtually all of these. And right now the borrow costs are pretty high and the lending APYs are pretty high. I think that's because both MEV and RE7 have a degree of uncertainty right now. So if you just wanted to lend or just collateralize to get those extra points, I think that's probably the play here. Looping, loop at your own risk. I won't say to go out and do it. There's actually not that much liquidity. There's only 1 million available against an alpha and virtually nothing against anything else. So do keep that in mind. And then Mystic is just a different front end for the same markets. You can sort of see what's available here, and they do have more information. So to their credit, no pun intended, you can go over here and look at things, and there's a dashboard and points. But these are for Mystic points, I think, not actually for the PNP points. So that's it, guys. Yeah, go check out Nest.credit. They're going to be on mainnet on Pendle. You can bridge over to Plume fairly easily. You can get PUSD 1-to-1 with USDC. And yeah, these are pretty cool. Now, one thing you might want to know is that historically, there's been a 10-day withdrawal period for some of these assets if you wanted to withdraw back into your NAV. Of course, you can swap through Rooster protocol if you want to exit earlier, but they are looking into making the withdrawal period shorter. Some of these assets down to 1 to 4 days. And I think that would make these, even more robust in terms of their peg because it's easier to arbitrage. So anyways, thank you guys for watching and have a wonderful rest of your day.